What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys, and of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Take a second, hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all social media at MyCowboysFamily, and hop in the Discord. Link for that's in the description box down below.
Yes, guys. And here, night 2 of the week, and day 13 of actual training camp on the field with pads, with the fans. Here we go. We're going to discuss it tonight. That and more, of course. The overshown injury still having effects, to be determined kind of answers. But
we're still kind of dealing with the fallout of it.
Yeah, but we got a little answer, a couple answers today. We talked a lot about that yesterday. We're going to talk a little bit about it tonight, as well as the Joneses speaking. They had to say their piece. Mike McCarthy spoke about all these guys you see on the screen. And as well as, we talk about the practice today. We're going to talk about the offensive line. Starting 5, all out there in the field. It feels good, doesn't it? Anyways, we'll discuss that and more here on My Cowboys Family, so stay tuned. But before we even get rolling in there, we got to roll into the people that make the thing happen here on the nightly on My Cowboys Family, like our sponsor of the week and Cash App King back-to-back, like our 90s Cowboys. Who is that?
Snug X.
You know why he's here. Much love, Snug. Yes, part of the family. Appreciate him. And, he's not the only one representing these boards right now. We got Stubby, 1085. He's got 17 points. Dennis Houston on that stream, boss. Much love to him. And on the gifting membership board, right? That's the spot where if you're in a membership, you can gift others memberships in the chat that don't have it yet. We have, 3 months of domination from Skeptical Fan. We got 3 weeks of domination from Jason Renfro. But we also
Dave
have
Brown, Bourbon Hunter. Thanks for summing it up.
My guy here, Dave Brown. Yes, much love to you, brother. And I'm sure we'll cross paths later. Go Cowboys. You know what we say here. So, anyways, appreciate him. Stubby down to 16 points, by the way. But, yeah, the gifting champion right now is Jason Renfro, and he's been doing it for 3 weeks straight. Will he get number 4 right now? No one's on the board on that side of things as far as the this week's new board resets. Yeah. And on when you look at the overall board, we have a couple people up there like, Clark Mother effing Kent and Jason Renfro. You might know that guy. Yeah, he's currently in first place on the overall board. And when you look at the Cash App this week, he's the current leader on there. Jason Renfro, much love to him. He's repping a lot of parts of this board right now as we're entering the last week of preseason games. And really the cut down week next Tuesday. At this point, we'll know the 53-man roster next week at this time in this live stream. So prepare, buckle up, and let's get ready for this. So on that note, though, let's also shout out those that rep that star level membership. We got 4 different levels of membership, but that star level, one of the top membership spots here, you get the nightly shout outs. And that's, like I just said, Jason Renfro, Skeptical Fan, Dwayne Broussard, the top dog, LC all the way from Australia. We got Mary Alvarez and Andy Potts. Much love to all 6 of you repping that star over everything. There's an over everything level as well. We'll talk about that later. But as far as the star level, baby, there is a quick thing coming up here next Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Mm-hmm. You guys know what it is, right?
All our star members do get their nightly shout-outs.
We did that already.
Okay, no, just making sure.
And there's 4 ways outside of Super Chat, right? Or membership, jumping into that on your own, getting gifted memberships. The thanks button. There's also 4 other ways to jump into that Cash App side of things.
You have the Cash App money sign My Cowboys Family, the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family, the regular PayPal link, of course, and last but not least, the Streamlabs link. It lets your comment show up on screen just like a Super Chat.
Boom. And now, let's see who's in the house tonight to talk some Cowboy football with us. Baby?
We have Skeptical Fan, always staying skeptical. And yes, Snug's definitely on a level of his own, right? Landlord from Wakanda in the house here. Ron, the Don, Smith. Again,
the Don.
Always love to see you coming through representing. Devontae Alvarez, hello and hi. Kelvin Joseph's definitely holding on by a very thin thread here on this 53-man roster. Griff 181, hello and hi. Cameron C in the place to be. Again, right now we're all good as far as mods and all that stuff. Appreciate all the love there, but thankfully our mod squad's more than holding it down.
Yeah, they've always been. Yeah, they've been top level here at MCF for 6 years running.
Let's see. Shout out to Stephen White in the house. Hello and hi. Daniel Berry Sports. Thomas Garrett, the Superior. Yes. Garrett, yes. Bruce. Much love to you, Bruce.
With the toxic juice.
See, Devontae Alvarez, hello and hi. 6'8", hello, what's up? Let's see who else is here. Scorpio coming through. Mike Z, hello and hi. Even you, Freedom First. You were almost first today. You see Mari Roberts representing. Much love to you. Rolando Rodriguez all the way from South Texas.
Always repping it here at MCF.
Glad the man cave and the house and the fence and everything survived in one piece.
Hope everybody's doing, if they're in that California side of things, hopefully everybody has gotten through this situation and are, we'll just say safe and sound, I guess, is the best way to say that right now. So, again, thank you all for joining us here on My Cowboys Family. Let's get it rolling here. Hit the like button for this stream right now you're seeing. Yeah. Hit that thumbs up. Hit subscribe if you're new and haven't joined yet to the family here. Just subscribe to the channel and then hit that notification bell because we'll try to drop some videos. Again, it was a little harder today because they weren't allowing videos to be dropped over there by Jerry Jones World, but we got a couple things snuck out of there. We'll talk about that and more, the practice. Make sure you do all those things. The like, subscribe, notification bell.
Smuggle them out like contraband.
Yeah, exactly. And also follow us on Twitter. I'm at CowboysFamily. But yeah, we had to basically be undercover to get this, to get these videos. Anyways, let me just put it this way. We have some NFL news. You guys remember Caleb Farley? He's with the Tennessee Titans. Drafted, in I think it was first round. He was a guy we had looked at as a cornerback. Mm-hmm. Crazy thing happened today, guys. Again, he's in the Tennessee Titans right now. A person died, and another person was injured when his suburban Charlotte home. It's not in Tennessee; it was Charlotte, but in North Carolina. But it's owned by Tennessee Titans. Cornerback Caleb Farley. It exploded.
Holy shit!
Overnight, he killed a person. Another person was injured. It was in Mooresville, North Carolina. The person who was deceased, who died, was Robert Farley. It was his father. Damn. So, yeah, it was confirmed today by ESPN. It was crazy.
I hope they're able to figure out
that's insane.
The cause of that accident.
Yeah. But
that's
his
horrific.
Dad is gone. That's major. I mean, I could not imagine. That must be mind-blowing. So, hope the best to Caleb Farley and his family. Now, the Buccaneers, shifting gears. Buccaneers, they announced that they're going with Baker Mayfield as their starting quarterback.
All right.
Per Todd Bowles.
Okay, that's good for him.
Yeah, and we talked about yesterday a little bit of the Baltimore-Washington game, and Terry McLaurin, wide receiver, had some kind of toe injury. Everything looked good as far as broken toe or anything like that. So today is believed to be a toe sprain, is the official word on that. On initial diagnosis, and they basically said this injury from last night's game is also called, as we know, turf toe, which could be lingering, but again, not to be a serious turf toe is the point here.
Yeah.
And he's having an MRI. He had an MRI today, and the good news came for him is that optimism that he's going to be playing Week 1 for Terry McLaurin. He's more day to day than anything else, is what they're saying. No major injury, so good for him. And we get to face him. I don't want to hear no excuse from the Washington Commanders when we beat them to crap.
No bullshit.
Exactly. Now, they're the Seattle Seahawks, believe it or not, we just played them, obviously, but there was a play that went down in that game by their rookie, I think number 11, Jackson Smith-Njigba. This is the number 1 receiver of the draft. That was the Seattle Seahawks first-round pick. He's undergoing wrist surgery today. He underwent wrist surgery today in Philadelphia. And there's still a good chance, though. The great news is that he can still be ready for the start of the regular season. Surgery's going to...
So whatever it was minor.
Well, the surgery is going to determine how long he's going to miss.
Okay.
But they believe it's going to be on the good side. He hurt his wrist against the Cowboys in that game. And what happened was, it's insane. You guys, he only had one really good play.
Yeah.
And that's the play everyone mistaken Trayvon Diggs in coverage. It was Eric Scott.
Yeah.
But the point is on that play where he got burned, Eric Scott, it was really more of a great pass and a great catch, but JSN is where that's the play he broke his bone and broke some kind of fractured some bone in his wrist on that play, which the one he almost scored a touchdown against Eric Scott Jr. So just so you guys know the context of the play.
All I'm saying is
he got up celebrating. He was fine.
McCarthy's decision to not play our starters makes more and more sense. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, again, Njigba is not a starter technically.
I know he's technically a rookie, so he falls more under the Mozzie Smith category, but I still feel like it's a valid point.
Well,
overall,
they're happy. Seattle, obviously, they have Lockett. They have, what's his name? Damn, DK Metcalf. But not DK. Is that his name? Yeah.
Metcalf?
Yeah. So, I was thinking about another Metcalf in the old days, the Cardinals and the Browns. No, Eric Metcalf. But anyway, no. I just listen. I'm getting off a track here. Like DK Metcalf and Lockett are the starters, but Njigba is going to be the third guy on that field eventually, if not sooner than later. That's a kind of a Mozzie Smith loss, like you said. So, yeah, luckily for them, good for the Seahawks. He's going to be back and bouncing back here. week 1, probably week 2, 100%. So good for him. Pete Carroll also said that this was a slight fracture. And it's right now looking at 3 to 4 weeks at the longest. But they're very optimistic about the timetable being like maybe closer to 2 or 3 weeks, which would put him, like I said, week 1 to week 2. So it sounds when Pete Carroll said 3 to 4 weeks, it sounds like it's probably going to miss that first week, even though people are saying it's still a chance. Maybe, but there's no need to rush him. I think week 2, week 3, he'll probably be back. One last mention as far as NFL news, and then we're going to get really deep in Cowboy information here. Former Bears running back Tariq Cohen. He missed the 2021 season with an ACL injury, was out of football last year, recovering the entire season. Now he's healthy and ready for NFL workouts. It looks like he's been cleared, and his agents, Drew Rosenhaus and Ryan Matha, they both have announced that he's ready to go. He's only 28 years old still, wants to resume his NFL career. The reason I'm bringing up Tariq Cohen is not that he's going to be a Dallas Cowboy. All right, I think you guys would already can assume that. But the reason I'm bringing him up is because he's been compared to, or at least I'll put it this way, one of the guys on our team has been compared to this guy, to Tariq Cohen, and I think we know which guy I'm talking about, right, guys? Yeah, if you guys know Tariq Cohen, he's tiny, just like Deuce Vaughn. So again, the reason I'm bringing this up is more not just like injury-wise. It's more about people say that okay, these little running backs, they don't, they get injured easily. Darren Sproles broke his arm and his leg in the same play, or whatever it was. Yeah, but he also played 14 years in the NFL, and that could happen to a lot of people. Now, that's one of the hits on Deuce Vaughn, and so again, this former Bears running back Tariq Cohen, he's been out since basically 2021, 2022 at the ACL, and now is 100% ready to go back. We'll see what kind of burst, what kind of ability he has. If any team decides to sign him, and I'm wondering if he'll go somewhere, even if it's not even that much money, minimum, veteran minimum, that kind of stuff. Because with the way the running backs are getting paid right now, that might be his best bet, just to expect that going into things. So, anyways, that's kind of the situation there with Tariq Cohen and the comparison to Deuce Vaughn. Just wanted to bring that up there. So, as I look in here, guys, and appreciate everybody in the house. What's up, Ron the Don, Skeptical Fan, Kenzie Band, Stephen White, Landlord from Wakanda, Cactus G. Skeptical cracking me up. Bruce got the Toxic Juice. Mari Roberts here with us. I'm so very happy, Ron, that you are still getting back to normal there. It sucks some of the side effect stuff that comes out with that, but you're here. That's the most important thing, brother. So
yeah, continuing on the road to recovery.
Yeah, Landlord here, Retro Scotty, hello, brother. Rolando Rodriguez, everybody here with us. So just gonna say, I don't think Tariq Cohen. I think you missed this part, but Tariq Cohen, very small running back. In the NFL, I think I don't think he made the Pro Bowl, but he was a Bears running back. The thing with him is that he's been compared. Deuce Vaughn's been compared to him.
Okay.
So the fact that he's been injured for 2 years, people say, well, that's why Deuce is not going to last. So I just wanted to bring that up. But hey, look, just wanted to throw it out there. I think it's a different situation. Darren Sproles broke his arm and leg in the same play, but he played 14 years. So that stuff happens to anybody in football. Smaller, I don't think it's necessarily a better chance going to happen. So I think Deuce is fine. Let Deuce loose week 1, 2, 3 into our formation, into our rotation on the offense. In some way, in some downs, you get Deuce in there and let him get down.
Agreed.
First drop live stream here with us, Mr. Mark Hosepian, all the way from Hawaii, kicking it off with a $2 holler. Immediately going
to you, Mark.
Yes, immediately going in a tie in second place on our board. What did Mark have to say?
Aloha. Woo. Got my package. Thank you so much.
Yes. We were actually talking about that yesterday. Very happy you got it, sir, and thank you for all the stuff you've given us a taste of Hawaii multiple different ways.
Hopefully you enjoy your little taste of Florida.
Yes, appreciate you, Mark. Let me get him on the board here, baby. Hit up, I guess, any kind of comments real quick or anything that I might have.
And Mari, so we are going to the Rams game, in case anybody didn't know. That's going to be not a game we live stream. Obviously.
Yeah, that's the only one we're not going to be able to live stream, obviously. But we will, we will be probably doing pregame and postgame kind of stuff. So, keep in mind there. That's the goal.
So, outside of that, guys, and I do apologize. I'm like a tiny bit under the weather today. So, Mr. MCF has been, really pulling some extra weight here today. So thank you for that, baby. But yes, it also doesn't help, like you said, that the Cowboys decided, or at least I should say, Jerry Jones finally decided to listen to Mike McCarthy because, again, never has there been a training camp so under lock and key for our Dallas Cowboys. Usually it's the opposite. Like, we could tell you what every player had for breakfast. We could tell you, how much they weighed this morning. We could probably tell you what they told their wives before they left their house. Yeah. It tends to be oversharing, not undersharing when it comes to Dallas. So definitely a bit of a change.
Yep.
So Presley, glad they're recovered and better there. But yes, guys, make sure to stay safe. The Rona's back out there on the prowl.
Yeah, always around there, So, I kind of going away from the NFL news, let's get to Cowboy news here. And Chris Collinsworth actually was interviewed today on a very interesting little topic called our schedule. And it's exactly what we just kind of talked about here, but when we're going to go, when we're going to, which games we're going to go to, which games are you guys going to go to. So, when I pop up the schedule now, let me throw it up here, guys. Halfway on my face there, boom. But when again, wouldn't they love us every single week on Sunday Night Football? NBC would. Chris Collinsworth would. I mean, we start the season against the Giants on Sunday Night Football, so Chris Collinsworth claims NBC would air 17 Dallas Cowboy games if they could. This is what he said today. And we'll get a little more in detail there, baby, with the coach, Mr. Chris Collinsworth.
He's not wrong. So, but he basically went on to say it's a really good question. Historically, they were really great for a decade, and then they really weren't for a long time. And yet, if NBC had their choice, we would do 17 Dallas Cowboys games, right? I'm not kidding you. It doesn't even matter what their record is. It doesn't matter. They could be 4-6 and we would take them. Oh, you guys can pick any game you want this week and we'll take the Cowboys. It's insanity, but it's true. They draw the ratings and they get it done. So, before I read the rest of that, Marco Seppian.
Yeah.
He dropped, mahalo to you,
by the way, he did drop that 5 on it. Right there, right in the second place, right behind Jason Renfro on the overall board. What did Mark have to say?
He said, I just don't get why they are talking so much about getting more backups at linebacker and running back when we've got great starters. And yet, there's a huge hole at guard and then zero depth at the O-line.
Yeah, I'm going to talk with you today, Mark, about this specific topic here. You see it in our front of our thumbnail, the offensive line. I mean, we got all 5, and there is something to say about that here, and we're going to discuss that here real soon about our front 5, our starting 5, top 10 offensive line in the NFL, Mark. I think we all can agree to that when they're healthy. We're top 5 when we're not healthy. We should, knock on wood, be healthy for week 1. But I'm just saying, when we're not healthy, that's where it drops. That's where our hearts drop. And that's where I understand what Mark is saying. We've been talking about a backup guard or tackle for the last 4 months here. Maybe longer than that, I don't know. And I'm talking about we as in you and I, baby, but also Mark. And a lot of people in the chat talking about this offensive line situation as depth now. Running back, I think we're going to have Rico Dowdle and Deuce. We're fine. I think we're fine there, You look at linebacker, we have an answer to what the Cowboys are going to think about doing here at the linebacker spot. We'll tell you about
but
today
Mark
here.
brings up a good point in that even if you're not sure what the answer is, we have more and better answers for basically all of these other questions. But when you're looking at the O-line question, it's like crickets.
And that to me has seemed like a major issue here, for the Cowboys, getting these depth stuff done here, especially offensive line to some extent. In the last 3 years, it's been an issue in my mind. We've been rolling on the draft picks that the Joneses like.
Yeah. And
they say that they think these draft picks in the 4th and 5th rounds are, and undrafted, are like, jewels of the draft and like steals of the draft. And they haven't shown out. Josh Ball and Waletzko, they have not been what we needed yet. Farniok in the 7th round, come on. TJ Bass currently right now, Awesome Richards, he's in the 5th round. I'm just saying, I don't know if we can bank on that to our season. That's the point I think Mark's trying to make. How can we bank on any of those guys to fill in a hole when that hole comes, and it's coming? Yeah. Hopefully later in the year, or hopefully for a short time. But when it does come, we're gonna throw this one guy into the other 4 starters and hope no one else gets hurt. Number 1, number 2, that this one weak link will not diffuse our momentum. It's a big risk to take, in my opinion.
Yeah, we're definitely risking quite a bit there. Yeah. Mike Aldana saying, Pride Time draws the most views, and of course, outside of our fan base, everyone just wants to see us lose. So, yeah, a bunch of haters.
We know how they do.
Kind of going back to what Chris was saying.
Chris Collinsworth, yes. He was talking about these games,
Yeah, he said, every opening night, we want the Dallas Cowboys if we can get them. They are an intriguing team, and I think they always will be. Look at me, I can't do this with any other team. You can kind of go off the top of your head and go, oh, hey, Cowboys, I got them. I know what's going on with them. It's craziness, but the Cowboys continue to be America's team, and that's no lie.
And again, that's why, every channel would love to have the Cowboys 17 straight weeks. And Chris Collinsworth was just saying what everyone knew already. Just a little more proof, I guess you can say, it's out there. Also, he said that the Cowboys, quote, they've got probably the best defensive player in football right now.
With Micah
Parsons. Oh, yeah. So Chris Collinsworth knows what he's talking about, at least on that side of things. So, just throwing that up there. I don't know if anybody has any comments on this, but let's keep it rolling because now we're getting to the day.
We still have quite a bit of other things to talk
so we have a lot of stuff today about the day in Cowboy football here, and it starts with Jerry Jones. You know who's going to make an appearance. The Joneses spoke today because the Cowboys announced the opening of the Miller Lighthouse at the Star in Frisco. They have all these beers and this whole area. It's a whole beer festival inside a building. They actually announced a can featuring the new Hall of Famer for the Cowboys, DeMarcus Ware. And DeMarcus Ware was also there with the can. So it was a whole big event. Not really going to talk about that as much as we're going to talk about Mark Hosepian dropping that $10 Cooper Rush holler.
Ooh, thank you, Mark.
Much love to Mark, who with that $10 holler, baby, he takes over first place on the board. He also takes over the stream boss as we speak right now. Much love to the man from Hawaii. What did he have to say, baby?
He said, we got huge question marks at our starters on O-line.
Huge.
The right tackle's coming off of injury. Farniok blows, and we still have left tackle injuries. Behind them, we have Jack. Is there an injury concern with Pollard? I heard our rookie defensive tackle has not been good.
Well, we're going to talk about that. We talked about that yesterday, actually. But go back to the first part of that because I got confused there. I know you read it right, but he said he's got a huge question marks at our starters on the O-line. I mean, I don't know about a huge when they're healthy, we're good, Mark.
But that's what he's trying to say, that because some of them have health question marks next to them, that's why the depth is even more important. It's not like we have a fully ready to go starting offensive line that's healthy with no problems. So that's what he's saying. Like our right tackle, Terrence Steele, right? He's just coming off that injury.
Agreed. That's worrisome.
Farniok sucks.
Well, Farniok is not a starter, so let's keep that in mind. I want to make sure I throw that in there. Farniok is a backup, and he's an issue in being consistent. So is Waletzko. So is Austin Richards. So is TJ Bass.
The left tackle injury is obviously Tyron Smith there.
Yes, I again, we know that's going to happen. He's going to go down. But Tyler Smith, Biadish, Zach Martin, we're good. Like, that's three guys we're solid. The tackles, yes, there's injury issues, but let's hope Terrence Steele is, that I'm not going to even think about that. We're just going to, has not done this, has not had any injury issues in his career except for the
again,
ACL.
No injuries concerns with Pollard. I think the Cowboys Pollard's a different type of running back, so I think the Cowboys are still a little bit hesitant.
You can't really
and want a more, I think, traditional type of running back to kind of help complement things out, which I think that's what Dowdle gives us a little bit more of.
A little bit, but
that's what I'm saying,
I think the injury with Pollard is just about the ankle, so it's a broken bone that heals better. When it heals, you can't stop the broken bone. I'm not worried about Pollard 0.0%.
Yes, and we did have two follow-up $2 hollers, but I want to address the final comment by Mark's drop. He said our rookie defensive tackle hasn't been good.
Well, he's had an off game against Seattle, but I put up there the 4 bad plays, the worst plays, which he actually didn't do horribly on all those plays. It looks worse than it is, but I will say that he still has room to grow, and that's what McCarthy said. So, look, it's a second preseason game. He's very good, and don't let the haters fool you and make you think negative because that's he's not going to have any kind of sack numbers. He's not going to have any of that stuff that people die to hear about a first round pick. That's not what he's here for. We've talked about that here for months, and we've said if you guys expect Mozzie Smith to have great sack numbers, then you're gonna be very disappointed. That's not what he's going to do here. He's not Aaron Donald. He's here to stop the run and give and help other guys stop the run. You know those bad plays that he showed on the film I put up? Take a look at the linebackers. Some of you guys commented on that. The linebackers are making the tackles. Not every single play, but they're roaming free. That's what you do with that's what you get with Mozzie Smith. He might be not still setting all his getting into his right gaps every time getting pushed out at times. He'll learn to get better on that. It's more about the fact that he's making two guys have to push him out the way, and that means linebackers are making the play. So don't let that fool you, Mark. Don't let them fool you. Now, what's the other two?
Yeah, the other $2 hollers there. He said Collingsworth is a PUD times 5.
Yeah, I'm not a big,
And then besides that, he said true when healthy. Other than that, we are good. So, which of course, like we said,
week 1 we're going to be healthy. That's what I'm looking at. Week 1 we're healthy. So week 1, as of now, and listen, we know we're going to lose one of them. As of now, week 1 we're good. We just got to hope that if Farniok steps in at guard and Tyler Smith goes to left tackle because Tyron Smith is out, guess what? Then we have to make sure that that we give as much help we can to Farniok, and he can block for 2.5 seconds. That's all we need. So,
with that too, let me keep looking through the chat here. Remy Solis, what's up, Snug X?
Woo!
Guys, the sponsor of the week,
Much
Cash
love.
App King in the house here.
Yeah, he's dominated back to back, by the way. Sponsor of the week and Cash App King.
Ron the Don Smith, first of all, take it easy. Have a great night.
Yes, Ron.
Don't even worry about. Just so glad to have you here and to
check in whenever you can, brother. And thank you, brother. Ron the Don Smith, an OG here on these MCF streets.
Yep. So Thomas Garrett saying it here best. Mozzie Smith is not playing to get the glory.
Correct.
His responsibility is to set things up for Micah Parsons and the other linebackers.
Yeah, and Micah as a pass rushers as well. Other like Osa, he's the starter out there. Osa and Hankins are starting right now. So we're okay with Mozzie getting some reps there with the starters rather than with all the backups. I think you're going to see people worrying about Micah and LVE and DeMarcus Lawrence and, Dorrance Armstrong and other guys on that defensive line instead of Mozzie Smith, which is going to give Mozzie Smith, actually, he's going to look a lot better, I think, in the regular season. And Mark with another $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 holler here for us. And another great question. I'm assuming a great question or comment. What did the man say?
He said, Pollard looked good. Deuce looks like a stud. Now we're talking about signing that Colts running back?
Let's slow down, Mark. No, we're not. Jerry Jones was asked that question.
Yeah, so he said, I'm asking about Mozzie. I don't want to hear BS from others. So, and that's my point. It just...
Yeah.
The reality is that, even outside of everything we said, that position, interior D-line, you're not going to look pretty your rookie year unless you're an Aaron Donald type.
Yeah.
Unless
Very
you're a top
like
10
that.
pick, you're not going to look pretty. It is not a sexy position. I said this yesterday.
Stat-wise,
I'm probably going to have to say this again, but not even that. Just I feel like overall, right?
Yeah.
But yes,
you don't see
he
much
won't
of him
ever
doing
get
anything.
the sexy stats. He won't ever have those, I think, super high-profile moments, right? But he's going to contribute in basically every single good defensive play when he's out there, once he finds his groove. But that will take time, which is why most of us were surprised to see the Cowboys actually invest at that position in the first-round pick. Because
that's something that Jerry Jones never does.
And then we do tend to, obviously, like most teams,
Russell Maryland was the last one.
We want first-round picks that can give us something right away. So I think it says a lot about how much they trust the future of this defense as well, that they are willing to say, we're willing to make the longer-term investments, even if it means right in this moment. Right? But the Cowboys also didn't just do their typical, let's leave it all to chance, right? We have Hankins there right next to Mozzie to help him grow and develop, and also to kind of do the job while he's still learning.
Yeah. And, listen, I 100%, I echo everything you said. And I'll add in there that Mozzie Smith, to me, when he's still getting pushed a little bit around, so don't get me wrong. He needs to improve. He's a backup playing against starters, and he was getting moved around. He still managed to do the other half of the time. He did his job great. Yeah. And that is still, I just showed the bad plays because that's the worst of Mozzie. And he still kind of did his job halfway.
Yeah, Mike said,
he'll get better.
He's not going to be drawn pain if you're looking for the stats.
Exactly.
Haley 94 said, look at Vince Wolford's numbers. You'll have a visual of what MCF is explaining.
Exactly. There you go. Vince Wolford is a great example. And that player will show you the hopeful stats we get from him. Now, the hope from the Cowboys, Will McClay said this, is that Mozzie will produce, they're hoping for it, adding the pass rush in the future. That means, and when I say future, I don't mean like week 2. I mean year 2, year 3 possibly. When you see Mozzie Smith getting a lot better as a pass rusher. But until then, he just needs to stop the run. That's his job.
That's the problem with guys like Micah or Trayvon or all these other rookies that come in here and basically have like knockout rookie seasons, right? That they set your expectations for basically every other rookie to come in there. And I don't mean that in a bad way, just saying that, it's hard to not feel like we somehow fell a tiny bit short because Mozzie isn't somehow out there getting sack after sack after sack.
Yeah,
and it's like, no, he's doing fine for where he's supposed to be. So back to you, baby.
We love it.
Because like I said, I know we have...
kind of, what Cam is saying here, Mozzie was getting double-teamed. We talked about that. He's getting double-teamed by starters. But we want him double-teamed. You know why? Because the longer he's double-teamed, that means there's a linebacker that's free and not getting blocked. That means Mozzie did his job. That's what we like here in My Cowboys Family. The grunt work. I love it. So anyways, back to what happened to Jerry Jones today with Stephen Jones and DeMarcus Ware introducing their new Miller Lite House at the Star. So go check it out, I guess. I'm sure the beer is like $12 per, but check it out. And Jerry Jones also right now took part in a ribbon cutting ceremony at this new Miller Lite House at the headquarters for the Cowboys team there in Frisco. He was raising a cold beer there and drinking it in the middle of the day, just chilling, All right, good for him. They announced now. Jerry Jones said he wants Michael Irvin to speak with DeMarvion Overshown about rehabbing from a knee injury, from that, what it's going to feel like and what it's going to take. And Overshown actually spoke about that later and did say he's going to check out things with Michael Irvin and see what, talk to him about it. Jerry Jones said about the Cowboys not playing most of the starters during preseason. He said, quote, "I like Mike McCarthy's approach. He wants those players there in December." Agreed. Again, we saw what happened with Overshown. That could have been Micah. We're fucking shitting ourselves.
I've never seen Jerry so agreeable, is all I'm going to say.
He's letting Mike McCarthy do his thing. Whether we agree or disagree, Mike McCarthy has more power than I think any other coach has since Jimmy Johnson.
I was going to say, I've never expected to see a coach with this much say-so.
In Dallas, yeah. By the way, Marco Sepien.
Not in my lifetime, or at least not in Jerry's lifetime. But Marco Sepien.
With that 5 on it.
Thank you, appreciate it. He said, "It concerns me when there's hype for guys like Sam and Mozzie, and perhaps deservingly so, but they should beat out Armstrong and Osa. Not looking for big numbers from Mozzie."
Now, I don't look at Mozzie as Osa's competition there. I see Osa as being a different kind of...
Yeah, they're kind of doing different things, even if they're...
overlapping on position there. They overlap. It's more... Okay, so if we have running down, you want Mozzie in there. You don't want Osa. If we have a passing down, you probably want Osa in there. You don't want Mozzie. So that's a simple fix there. And the other guy can be Hankins, can be DeMarcus Lawrence. Hankins on the rundowns with Mozzie Smith. And on the pass downs, you got Osa and DeMarcus Lawrence as the tackles. That's what the Cowboys do with someone like Micah on the outside pass rushing and Sam Williams. Dorrance Armstrong, these guys as Fowler as a pass rusher on the outside as the other. That's the way the Cowboys and Dan Quinn doing it. I trust in that.
Yeah, and at least when it comes to Sam Williams, the hype is real.
He's getting back there.
If anything, he's again. I joked about it like earlier when the training camp and all that first began. I'm like, he kind of reminds me of Randy Gregory in some ways.
I just gotta say that
he was showing his Randy Gregory, but unlike Randy Gregory, he's been healthy and he's been consistent and he's been continuously developing, and we just want to continue to see that.
But it's funny. It's funny you say that. When Randy Gregory came back from his suspension, and remember that was it Nolan Smith? No, what's his name?
I want to say Nolan Carroll for a second.
I know. Mike Nolan. Mike Nolan held out like Gregory for like 2 extra weeks, and then only played him for like 15 snaps a game. And he was the most effective. Like he had the most effective PFF analytic. When he was on the field, he was involved in the play like 10 out of 14 times. That's what Sam Williams did last year. In a minimal role, but instead of going, he's going forward from that, right, with Dan Quinn.
Yeah, like that's where he's starting at.
Yeah, he's starting at that point, and he's already being effective in his rookie year like that. You got to look at those numbers. To me, Sam Williams needs to reel it in for penalties. That's going to be his issue. Stupid bonehead penalties from you saw from Gregory. I think we got that danger with Sam Williams. I'm being honest and real. Outside of that, the guy's going to wreck the backfield and pass rush, and you got to weigh the good and bad in that. Got to do that. So, anyways,
handing it back to you.
Go? All right, we'll go back. We go back to things. So, Jerry Jones speaking, he said that, he likes McCarthy's approach, wants the players there in December, obviously implying injuries, right? Jerry Jones spoke about Mozzie Smith. He said, quote, "He's going to play a lot of football for us. He's going to be an outstanding player." As Marco Sepien says, that's the hype machine of the clown show there. But look, I do believe Mozzie has those skills, fit in this defense under Dan Quinn. I feel good about it. I'm not worried like a lot of the news analysts, the ESPNs, and they're going to tell you all this stuff. They don't really know. They just try to hype it up to make people talk about it. And then if anything hating the Cowboys is click worthy for these big networks and channels and all that stuff. So either way, I believe Mozzie is going to be a solid player for us. And I think McCarthy said that. Look at the tapes. He graded out high. I trust in the process there. In that process with Dan Quinn leading the way, I trust it. Now, what did Jerry Jones say about Deuce Vaughn? All right? Because we've been hearing things. Maybe you should sit Deuce Vaughn for this game. Sit, Jalen Tolbert for this game. Not get any risk an injury and all that stuff. I'm not sure about that. But that's what McCarthy's still checking into that. What did Jerry Jones say about Deuce Vaughn? He said, quote, he's a unique problem for tacklers. We should incorporate, I don't want to say defenders, but okay, for tacklers. He's saying people that try, every single 11 guys out there are trying to tackle him. But basically he said, quote, he's a unique problem for tacklers. We should incorporate him in everything that we can do to win. That doesn't mean he'll be out there carrying the ball 30 times a game, but he can definitely be in some packages. That's all. Jerry, you're listening to MCF again. Exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I've said about this situation. There's no way that you don't use Deuce Vaughn in 15 plays in every game. In my mind, does that make him a starter? No, but it makes him an integral piece of this offense, a big time contributor to this offense, right? So Jerry Jones is in agreement with us, and again, not third. He's not going to be running back number one anywhere in the NFL. I don't care what the people that are fanboys of Deuce. That's not happening. But he can definitely take on half the load. He can definitely take on a third of the load, no problem. I believe that can be done, if you measure it right. Now, Jerry Jones was also asked about Jonathan Taylor. As Mark was saying earlier, there's a whole Jonathan Taylor thing. We talked about it yesterday in detail that he's out there, and I said the Cowboys are not interested in him. Like this, if they were interested, it would be out there. I'm hearing guys on the TV again, Marcus Spears, all right, so up on the screen on ESPN talking about, the Cowboys are, two guys on some news channel said that the Cowboys should be picking, two different people said the Cowboys should pick up Jonathan Taylor on a 1-year, $5 million deal, but he ain't playing on that right now in Indianapolis, and he won't play on that anywhere else unless you give him a deal. So you got to give up draft picks for a running back and pay him all that much more than 1 year, $5 million. It's not happening.
Yeah,
so
if we're gonna do all that shit, we might as well
crazy.
Just extend it Tony Pollard.
Thank you. Exactly.
What do we even talk about here?
So,
but let's hear straight from Jerry.
Jerry Jones spoke about it. He said we know that Jonathan Taylor's been given permission for a trade. Jerry Jones is pleased currently with the Cowboy running backs. He said he's still not going to rule anything out, though. Just remember that this is the hype of the Cowboys. The same way
you didn't rule Zeke out, right?
Exactly.
I'm just saying.
What do you say about this possible trade, not with him, but in the NFL now that he's available to trade for Jonathan Taylor? What did Jerry Jones say?
He said, I look at every opportunity, but the way our young backs are playing, I'm very comfortable with where we are right now. I feel good about our running back position if we didn't add anybody. That, however, does not put Dallas out of consideration for possibly claiming... he said, don't include us not adding anybody because you've got, the roster cuts, and we've certainly not closed the running back position as far as who might be available going forward.
Now, I just want to say that, and I think it went a little out of place, but what I'm thinking is when we're talking about not closing the door on things, it's not about closing the door on like making a trade or picking up some free agent. It's about when the roster cuts next week come. On next Tuesday at this time, will the Cowboys have made a move to pick up a linebacker, a running back, an offensive lineman from the 1,000+ guys that are going to now be on the waiver wire? Boom. Literally in one day, it's going to be over 1,000 players cut when you add them all up from all NFL rosters. So I believe the Cowboys will be looking there for an offensive lineman. I believe that should be first and foremost. If they need a running back, you go there. And if you need a linebacker, you go there. That's all. That's what I'm thinking. I think the Cowboys are kind of, I got to say, they are agreeing with MCF once again. Let's not go out there and just go crazy signing people, except for offensive line, which I've been saying we should. But I'm going to tell Mark here as well, remind myself this as well. There's nobody out there. Like Matt Farniok and Chuma Adoga and Awesome Richards and these guys, they're all as good, maybe even better, than those remaining best free agents on the offensive line. That's why I can't be mad at this. They kind of corner themselves into this. To me, for the offensive line, you wait to cut down day, August 29th, 4 p.m. Eastern. That's what I'm saying. And I think the Joneses in the front office is also going to be looking a little harder during that time frame. We got $20 million still open on the cap. I'm not saying we're not going to use that for the players that we have in our team now, extensions and all that stuff. But you can use a little bit to sign one of these guys who's going to be freshly cut from an NFL team. So, I don't know. That's my 2 cents there. Now, there is also, I think, Jerry Jones kind of coming to an end here as far as kind of what he said. He did touch on an interesting situation when it comes to Brandon Cooks, right? Brandon Cooks, Micah Parsons, and Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah.
They got onto a plane that Brandon Cooks was co-piloting, I guess. He had a co-pilot. He was the pilot. And flying over Seattle. as we all know. We've seen the video. I'll put it on here for you guys. You see it right there. What did Jerry Jones say about this little endeavor?
He said, "Boy, I'm glad I didn't know that was going on. Part-time pilots are not the way to go." Also, that the best parts of his team were going on this private flight in Seattle. He said he would have stopped it had he known.
I don't blame him to an extent. He would have, but Brandon Cooks. I think he did speak on that.
It's a very expensive plane ride.
Yeah, he spoke. You'll hear from him later. He spoke on this, saying he's done piloting.
And he's going to say, I've hung up my piloting gear for the season for now.
Yeah. Now, the final part of really what the major part of Jerry Jones, he said he adds a little bit more a little later, but he was there with Stephen Jones. He spoke about basically when you look at this upcoming preseason game, and let me reiterate, that game is against the Las Vegas Bagheads. I mean, the Raiders. I mean, you know what I mean. Anyways, that's our next opponent. What's the likelihood the Cowboys will do the same thing within the last 2 weeks? Not play the starters, not even see the starters out there at all. So what, are we going to do this game as the same one as the same way we did the first two in preseason? Yeah. What did Jerry Jones say about this whole experience?
Al Davis, the very first time I was ever out of practice with him, he stopped a drill. He got out and stopped it. We had maybe run 7 snaps, and the drill was a contact drill, and it was training camp in Austin. He brought the team up there, and man, the coaches were just dumbfounded, saying what's he doing, stepping over, stopping the drill? And he said, that's it, man. The Raiders are not going to leave anything on the field here in August. We're going to need it in December. We're through. No one's having any more contact here. So that,
give me an idea.
And the reason he
said
that is because it reminded him of obviously what we're kind of doing now, right?
Not at least in games. Right?
And Jerry said, I use that as a memory because you do have to sometimes use the word, but you've got to weigh the good you're getting out of it over what it might do to availability, and it's a hard call. Huh. I like McCarthy's approach, and we all see what it is now, so you've gotten used to it, and you have to, and I think he wants the veterans there in December.
Listen, can we get mad about that? Not after the injuries we've seen and seen, exactly. Not just on our team, but on the NFL.
McCarthy is more than willing to take any shit for not playing basically a single starter all preseason, if it means that they have a glimmer of a hope of a chance of seeing the field come December, and obviously beyond that.
Yep. Now, sorry. In the same wavelength, we also got Stephen Jones speaking here, baby, who also kind of jumped in and had a couple important things to say. And this one was about, basically following that same plan that we did the last 2 games. They kind of asked him about that. What's his thoughts about this when it comes to going forward and playing backups, no starters?
So he said, we've had long discussions with Mike about it. It's Mike's preference doing it this way. He's had success doing it this way. We're very comfortable with it, and as you said, everyone's going to have a different purview in terms of what's best for their particular football team or their particular veteran players, but very comfortable with how we're handling the playtime with our guys.
Yeah, and again, you're going to hear that similar situation from Mike McCarthy soon. Himself, he spoke after this. But then Stephen Jones kept speaking about injuries and about, at this Miller Lite house that they were unveiling at the Star. What did he say, baby, regarding the injuries going forward and it's part of football, I guess.
Yeah, he said, as we all know, injuries are a part of this game. But certainly these 2 young men we lost were in our plans both. John Stevens, which is not unheard of, for him to come from a priority college free agent and be a guy who pretty much found himself a spot on this football team.
You know what that means? That means that he was going to make the 53. John Stevens was going to push off either Hendershot or McEwen. We'll never know now.
I agree, but based off of and obviously I'm guessing McEwen, but based off of the commentary from Jerry from the other day, remember he said that 4 of these college free agent guys were going to make the 53. John Stevens is clearly one of those guys, if not the top guy from that short list.
He makes the IR list now. He stays on for us the next year.
But
I'm sorry, it's Overshown, of course. We know Overshown.
Stephen went on to say, add on in there, and then Overshown, he was leading the rookie class in terms of our draft picks. It's just difficult. You see guys like that are going to be significant on the field in terms of contribution this year.
That hurts.
And first of all, you feel for the players. They're competitors, they're top-notch young men, and that's why they're successful. But the great news is they've got a bright future. And if you're going to have something happen, early is the best time, because they'll get through the rehab, have a full off season, and their future is bright as far as we're concerned.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can do right now, going forward. Stephen Jones, he spoke about the depth of this team, right? And he said, quote, I think this is as deep as a team we've ever had. There's no question it's going to be the hardest 53-man cut that we've had in years and years. So
and it's funny because
then they asked them a question.
I actually have to agree with that statement.
Very tough cut this time around, huh? Because then they asked them, is there a chance that the Cowboys will trade a player before roster cuts, to make one of these moves for offensive line, running back, linebacker? What did he say to that?
He said, I think we have the answers on this team. I've always told you we're always open. If the right situation came along that we feel like would make our team better, then we'd look at it. We also feel very comfortable with the players that we have on this team. We have safeties who can play linebacker, and that's the way that Dan designed this defense. I just feel like you've got a guy like Juanye Thomas, out there playing at a high speed in both preseason games and practices. He's certainly made his way into the picture of adding more depth at safety. And then we have a lot of safeties that can do a lot of the things that Overshown can do. So
what does that tell you? Because I know what that means to me. To me, that means that
it sounds like Overshown's, I guess, I hate to say like jobs, duties, responsibilities, however you want to call it, sounds like it's going to be partially split up between a handful. Like, it's not just going to be one guy that takes over that role, although I imagine there'll be one guy that takes a bigger chunk of it.
Here's the thing that's interesting to me, because we spoke about this last night and talked about Jabril Cox having to step up. We talked about possible free agents at linebacker that we'll have to, maybe we can pick up. Using Micah, dropping him back there at times. And specifically we said, which we know that the Dan Quinn loves to do, is exactly what Steve Jones just said today. He must be listening to My Cowboys Family. Because he's saying using safeties like J. Ron Kurtz, Donovan Wilson, Malik Hooker, who play in the box a lot as box safeties and come in there and help covering tight ends and some slot receivers. Israel Mukuamu could also do that stuff. We know Kelvin Joseph's played from a cornerback outside to a slot corner. He's been playing that more now. So we got all these guys in and around near the box area that can play. Now, when we talk about different lineups, situational football, third and 13, you're getting the best coverage guys out there. Third and 3, you get your best run stoppers out there. So when the fact that he mentioned Juanye Thomas, does that mean it could come down to him and Jabril Cox? As far as maybe taking over those snaps, yes, not over a position, I think, on the team.
Yeah, like I said, it's no one's just like all of a sudden taking over that spot, so to speak. Yeah. But when it comes to like who's taking over the majority of the duties that Overshown was going to have, again, Jabril Cox to me, it seems like the easy and early lead / favorite. But it's clear from some of Steven's comments that it seems like I said, a few of those things are still going to be off-put and kind of outsourced to some of the other guys.
And I think the main thing he said was the safeties. Named Juanye Thomas, and we know that we've heard from Dan Quinn in the past talk about Marquise Bell playing that role. So I didn't see Stephen Jones talking about this. We heard later on Marquise Bell and Dan Quinn talking about using Marquise Bell in that number 41 as that pseudo hybrid linebacker, take over those Overshown plays, because you know why? He fits I said this yesterday. Who fits those Overshown snaps best? I think Dan Quinn is leaning towards number 41 Marquise Bell. Throw out there Juanye Thomas. Throw out there other linebackers. We know they can do it. But I think that Marquise Bell is one of the favorites to kind of be the backup to that, to whoever's going to step up and do that.
Injuries are never a good thing, but young guys getting more opportunities is always a good thing. So even if it's through an unfortunate way, but definitely looking forward to see what either Jabril Cox or Marquise Bell brings to the table.
Or Juanye Thomas. Who knows?
A bit of competition there is always helpful.
Yeah, I agree. And I also say this. Stephen Jones is finishing up a couple of things he said. He made about the roster. He said that he kept mentioning keeping 9 or 10 offensive linemen. Now, I know 5 guys. I know 5 offensive linemen are 5 true starters that you see in our picture on our thumbnail. But what about the other 5 more backups? We're going to have 5 backups? Not just like 3 guys, like a center, a guard, and a we're going to have like 5 backups. Or 4 backups.
We're basically running with 2 lines.
That scares me, especially when the second line is not very good. What are we doing investing in this? Maybe it means you keep 3 and then pick up a 4th, I say depth-wise, in free agency. Like in the sense of when the cuts are done. We don't know yet, but he kept saying 9 or 10. That seems like a lot for offensive linemen, although we know we got to go heavy on that. I just don't know if we have the skills for those guys yet. I guess if you add Chuma Edoga, Sim Richards, TJ Bass, Farniak, well, let's go. That's 5 guys. So I guess there's 5 backups for you. Now, I did want to continue finishing up with Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones. Basically confirmed about one of our guys here that we've been talking about. We got to see. I know Mark Hovsepian had, kind of a lot of questions about him. I said, I think we got to see him in his second year. and we're gonna basically is Jalen Tolbert going to be the number 4 receiver on this team? I think he's locked that up. Stephen Jones was asked about Tolbert and the situation. What did he say about that in detail when it comes to Stephen Jones about Tolbert?
Jalen Tolbert's locked down that 4th spot and certainly shown us that he can be productive, and Dak is very comfortable with him.
Very important.
You've got a guy like Tolbert who ended up needing a little time, and then you got a veteran in the room with him like Cooks. Now we're seeing what we drafted. That 3rd round pick has turned into something that we're going to have.
That's big, right? I mean, we needed to see that from Tolbert. What a turnaround.
So he also added in there, usually it's an O-lineman that can make a jump like that, and some guys just come in and they're going against full-grown men in this league. A lot of guys are young. Thinking of one, it's usually an offensive lineman, but on my fingertips, I don't have someone that's made that big of a jump from year 1 to year 2. So basically, obviously, Steven's been around the block for a little while here, right? And at least in his personal opinion, he doesn't think that he has seen a jump when it comes to talent or production or what they're doing. Outside of maybe, like, basically only offensive linemen have jumps like that. Jump. That look the way Tolbert did his first year, and then come into their second year looking as strong as they are. So
I mean, I gotta say, I mean, I think you agree with this. I think most of the chat agrees that the biggest jump from where they were last year to this year, the biggest one that stands out to me is without question Jalen Tolbert. Without question. I'm talking about rookies.
I figured he would improve. I figured he'd get better. But even I was like, damn, can this even be saved? I
wasn't as worried.
I thought of it more of a confidence thing. You know what I mean? Like physical ability, I figured he would continue to develop there. But I was just thinking, we just crushed this man's soul and basically, ruined his career just because we told him he sucked for an entire year because he couldn't measure up to these impossible standards.
You know what I think changed it the most? I think Mike McCarthy's scheme change helped him. It helps Dak, but it helps him as well. So no matter what happens with Dak and McCarthy, I can tell you that McCarthy single-handedly changing the scheme up helped Jalen Tolbert get better in football in the NFL.
I don't disagree with you, but I actually think that the addition of Brandon Cooks did more.
Okay, that's a great point too. Yeah.
It's one of those things where, it's hard to really measure the impact that a veteran has necessarily when it comes to the knowledge or the things that they impart, but we've seen it basically since the beginning of the off season. Early days once we got Brandon Cooks, Cooks basically jumped headfirst into involving himself, becoming part of the offense, but
with Tolbert,
taking some of these guys under his wing. And he specifically mentioned that Tolbert was kind of like a bit of a project for him because he's like, no, come on, young guy, I'm gonna show you what you need to do. And we're talking in the span of a handful of months and just some off-season workout shit. Tolbert went from looking like someone we never wanted to see wearing a Dallas Cowboy uniform to, again,
challenging that 3rd spot in a way, right, with Gallup.
Again, obviously we still have to see it in
I agree.
regular football, but as of now, I have to agree with Steven. I'm hard-pressed to think of a guy who started off where he did and took such a jump in just such a short amount of time and was able to show it in training camp. So.
Agree. Second that. Nothing else to say on that.
So, but Steven, of course, did have to say...
Because this is where it got kind of, not crazy, but this is where we went back and forth a little bit about, are we a championship team? Jerry, Steven, we got to get that 6. You see my shirt? I want 6 and beyond. Mm-hmm. So, what did Steven say about this? And then Jerry took over.
Yeah. So, Steven said, I think it's right there at the top in terms of the past. Going back to Romo's runs, I think this team has the depth. I think it's got quality. Certainly finding guys like Gilmore and Cooks made a huge difference in terms of, I think, improving our team from where we were last year. And then Jerry kind of chimed in, it's a bit of back and forth between them, right? Jerry said, I really like our group. I agree with Steven. We all know the other teams that we're going to be playing get some good things out there too. You talk about how good your team is. It's got to be in comparison to where your competition is.
It's great
because makes me feel dirty just hearing that because it literally makes it sound like Jerry basically was okay with sucking because the rest of the NFC East sucked.
Yeah, so we can
but
suck
now that
too.
the NFC East is not sucking, we have to also not.
We know what he means. Obviously, I know, but I know you're saying it takes. You can feel it taking it that way, and also I think that the fact that we are, yes, I agree. Competition is important, but I also look at it as our own. I know he said it about the league, but I'm talking about our own team. The competition that our defense gives our offense a challenge.
The internal.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's going to make our offense better. I think the offense, as they get better, this is going to make the defense better. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be a great thing when you're playing two top teams.
Same way our defense is better when they go up against Dak versus Cooper Rush.
So,
and then Jerry added on a little bit more, saying, relative to that, I feel great. I mentioned the other day, it has everything to do with having the right feeling, the timing, whatever you want to call it, to go ahead and get Zach in here because of how good we felt about things and how good we feel about the team.
Good.
I do think our team going in, Dak is showing good health. We're going to preserve that to the extent that we don't have to expose him. And I like what we're doing relative to protection, relative to Prescott, moving forward on our offense. I think some of the things that we're asking him to not do and some of the things that we're doing in our routes, it's much less to do with specific blocking. And I think it's going to help us. If he's healthy and standing this year, then that will be a big positive.
And are they watching My Cowboys Family? Because didn't we say it's the blocking? This was a plan from McCarthy, and I think the plan is the quick throws, right? You see that in the entire game pretty much, or a lot of the plays with Cooper Rush.
You cracked the code. You basically
quick throws
realized how McCarthy
help bad
is
offensive line.
This.
And again, I think Marco Seppian, I always bring it up to him, and I'm still curious. I don't know if he's in the chat now, but I'm always curious to hear him say, what is his thoughts on the quick throws, the 1.5, 2 second throws we have, which no one's going to sack us in that speed. Someone's going to be open in that time frame. How does that make him feel with that McCarthy scheme? Because I think that helps the issue we're going to have when it comes. Not right now. Our starting five, we're top 10, and I'll tell you why in a minute. We have a little bit of analytical on this, but when you look at our offensive line, when we're missing one of our starters, that's when the bigger problem happens. Well, I think McCarthy's preparing us for that with quick offense. Less reads for Dak, but also a quicker flow, a quicker a lot of quicker options so they get the ball out fast in case there's an issue with our offensive line, which there will be sometime this season, in my opinion. I think we're planned for that already. So I don't know. That's just my thought process there. So, I don't know if the chat has anything quick to say, just to jump in, and we'll keep it rolling here in a minute.
Let me see. Cactus G saying, I think after this season, Tolbert will be more likely to replace Cooks than Gallup sometime in the next couple years.
Remember now, Cooks is here next year, so is Gallup possibly, but Cooks is here for sure. Gallup actually could be cut with a minimal cap hit. If he does not produce this year, I think Tolbert comes in not for Cooks, I think he comes in for Gallup. And we're not going to cut Cooks, not with everything he's given us veteran-wise, and as long as, we know he can play, so that's already known. It's hard for me to say Gallup is going to jump over Cooks or Tolbert's going to jump over Cooks, but Gallup is definitely more in the risk area. He has to have a good. If he has a good season, we'll run with 4 guys again next year. I'm assuming, not sure, or maybe the Cowboys try to trade Gallup. I don't know. A lot of good questions there in that mixed in there.
So, real quick, as I'm kind of rolling through a few more of these comments. Yeah, Menorgades said, we may have the deepest and most versatile defensive backs. Mr. Cowboy adding in there, Tolbert's number 4, but I believe he'll be fighting for that number 3, and I love it.
Yeah, so, I think in time, next year, yeah.
Something else to consider just because of the way that I'm assuming some of our rotation, so to speak, is going to work. Don't be surprised if he doesn't. I fully expect him to get some shots at the number 3 spot, if that makes sense. He's not going to be there the whole game. That's not his permanent role or whatever. But maybe a few times a game, or maybe it's more of a matchup specific thing, right? In the sense of if we match up really well against a particular team there, maybe Tolbert gets to see a little bit more time there. So that's all. I'm just saying, I think it's easy to get boxed into maybe all one way or all another. Remember, I think McCarthy is all about those in between shades and the nuances.
I know.
So,
I hear you. And I hear Marco Seppian dropping that 5 on it. 100 points on the stream, boss. First place on the board. What did the man from Hawaii repping that star for everything had to say?
He said, I think it's wishful thinking. If that's all it takes, then every team would do this to avoid sacks. A quicker drop and such helps, but I think it's an excuse.
Listen, I agree with Mark here. I do see it being because the whole game you can see is not going to be just those plays over and over again. It's not going to be just 2-second plays, 1.5 second plays. But the Cowboys are working different. You can see they're working their running backs and tight ends, and that's going to be a major way of kind of keeping drives going. And then they're going to, today's practice. We're going to talk about today's practice, but Mark, today's practice, to me, the Cowboys were going deep on purpose. It was Mojo Moment was going deep. So I think what we're seeing is parts. I think we're seeing the part which is West Coast offense style. I think we're seeing the part which has some Kellen Moore flavor. And I think with the part also works into the West Coast when you want to take deep shots. So I think when you put it all together, that's the puzzle that McCarthy has to put together week 1, game 1. He's not showing people in these games everything to put together. He's showing you a piece here and a piece there. So I saw some quick huddling. I like that. That was first game, right? The second game we saw a lot. Again, both games we had a lot of under center. That stuff there is for play action. That's good. That's going to be probably part of the staple. But then you saw a lot of mixes.
That's a great comparison too. He said his Cooks helped Tolbert just like Jason Peters helped Tyler Smith last year.
Exactly. That's why one of the reasons I say why not bring at least Peters back in.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, imagine if Jalen Tolbert had
someone
that
like
type of veteran guy to take him under his wing that rookie year of his.
Yeah, he would have been
exactly
a bigger jump last year.
Very different discussion here. I also am hoping, right? Like, it's still a little early for that, but I'm hoping the next handful of years that we can also maybe look to guys like CeeDee Lamb
to be the veteran leader.
Like he's obviously not quite there yet since he still hasn't even come off his rookie contract, right? So,
but that's the thing though. Once he gets that contract, like Trayvon Diggs, you can see him becoming more of a leader. CeeDee Lamb needs to step up in that.
I agree, and that's what I'm saying. Like, because for a little bit I was just kind of in my own head thinking, and I'm going to hit up Mark's comment here in a second. But I was just kind of thinking, I'm like, it's nice that Cooks did that. But I'm disappointed that maybe like other guys on our own team didn't step up and do that as well.
Right before him.
But then I thought two things. One, why am I assuming they didn't? I'm sure they did, just not necessarily in that leadership type of way. Like
Amari was gone already.
It's the difference between learning something from your friends and learning something from again like an older, experienced mentor who has done it, who can show you the ropes in a way that like your friends are always. It's not they're gonna let you down, but they're not gonna be able to tell you or show you everything.
It's kind of like Dak and Kellen Moore working together.
That's,
see how we do this? Domino effect.
And not just that, but all the connections there, right?
Mark in the house with that 1-2 on it.
He said an excuse to justify a flawed O-line in-depth clown show.
I think it's parts here. That's all I'm going to say, Mark. I'm assuming it's not going to be just a whole game just dumping it left and right, and some slants. It's going to be more than that.
Yeah, remember, I think it was made pretty clear that whatever McCarthy's doing now is like a super basic, like straightforward, plain
anything you guys
offense.
Anything you guys seeing there out there in the preseason games, it's called vanilla offense.
Razzle dazzle sold separately.
Yeah.
Mike Z, by the way, no starters in that last preseason game, like we said, and we kind of touched on here. McCarthy is very big into the philosophy of no fucking starters until the season starts.
And let's get into it because he actually spoke about that. But before he spoke about that, he did speak about Brandon Cooks. In the airplane situation, we got to talk about that.
I did have to actually, yes.
So let me just say, when he spoke today at the Star today, guys, not in Oxnard, not River Ridge, he spoke in Texas, Frisco, Texas, at the Star for the first time since landing, right? But Brandon Cooks told Mike McCarthy he owns a parachute. I'm just going to lead off with that, baby. Let me know what Brandon Cooks said.
So, first of all, it cracks me up because he said, I don't want people freaking out like me and the boys were the only ones there. We had a veteran pilot with us.
Yeah,
which again, you couldn't see it, but we know he was there. And McCarthy, joked, right? He's like, obviously, I don't know about taking the whole crew up there, but I mean, Brandon is someone you definitely trust. So, which, that's a lot of trust there, McCarthy. Jerry Jones, obviously, he chimed in. He said he was not a fan, but he said that he did want to chastise Cooks for getting in the airplane with the best part of the team.
He was not happy about
that. Cooks added in there, he's like, I haven't seen him yet as far as Jerry Jones, but if I was him, I'd feel the same way. He's got a lot of money invested in the guys on that plane.
Even Cooks understands. So, he's hanging it up, I'm hearing, right?
Honestly, that cracks me up, but he did convince Micah Parsons and Gilmore to go up there by telling them, like, I've flown before, I've definitely done this before.
Yeah.
And that he also said, like, I'm not going to go up there unless I do have an experienced co-pilot with me.
Good.
As well.
Thank goodness, yes.
He also was asked, do you want to be a player or a pilot? He's like, that was probably the last flight of the year. I'd obviously never do anything like that during the regular season. We'll get back to it after February. We had fun.
A little freaky to me because, again, you heard about a guy getting injured on a jet ski the other day losing his getting an injured leg, ACL tear, and out for the year. I just don't want to hear any mishaps going on in the plane. That's all.
Yeah,
I'm glad everything is good there on Earth and I'm not going to be flying anymore like this.
Oh, the last little blurb there as far as that saying, I'm glad I didn't know what was going on. I would have had to tell my part-time pilots in mind are not the way to go.
Woo, all right, no more of that.
Yeah, so
right?
Jerry, not a fan of that.
Yeah, I
Can't blame him.
Yeah, listen, it's good that they're flipping the switch, not flying anymore this year. I'm happy about that. So now changing, I guess, gears. Anyways, and taking out the Brandon Cook story, McCarthy did speak about injuries and players that got injured in his past and why he has this philosophy. And everybody wants to know. Some people really hate the fact that McCarthy's not playing starters. They want to see the first string team in there on offense. They want to see the first team defense out there, getting a drive or two, getting a couple. Like see what most of these other teams doing out there. Why is McCarthy choosing a different path? He said this, and it's really about getting players that were injured. Getting players that have been injured in these games, in these game situations. So what did he say, baby, when it comes to his philosophy here of sitting the stars and the starters?
He said, well, I've lost players. I lost when starting left tackle in a family night scrimmage, so I know what that looks like. That was back in 2012. It's really a risk assessment. I mean, there's pros and cons of playing them, and there's pros and cons of not. There's pros and cons of practicing against another team, and there's pros and cons of not. It's all just understanding how it all fits together. I think the other part of it is, where are you as a team? What are you trying to get done? Do you have a veteran group you believe in? Right? This is year 3 for a lot of our group. We're further along, clearly, on defense than we've been, so I have great confidence in that part of it. Offensively, my only focal point for me as I move forward is to get to the starting offensive lineman. Tomorrow's tape practice will be the first time we'll have the 5 starters in a team, period.
Ooh, yeah.
It's about just staying in tune and in that. But yeah, I think we're all a product of our experiences, and I'll see them work both ways. I think the risk assessment is maybe you get older, you get a little uncertain. I don't know that. But, I just think common sense needs to prevail. But you have 32 teams, and not everybody attacks it the same way. So that's really the answer. For me, it's where's my head at? Where's my team at?
Yeah, meaning that, if the team has the camaraderie, if they have the connection in the practices against the number 1 defense in the league and vice versa, the defense versus then he feels that they've had as much practice as you're going to get out there, as much valuable information and reps you're going to get for these players to be ready for week 1. So I think that's what he's saying there, balancing the risk and the injury situations like we just saw in the game. John Stevens out for the year, tight end, of course, Overshown out for the year at linebacker, both rookies.
And he does say, obviously, it's a little different because he said, now, if we're all just brand new and young, and I was back in 06, 07, we were playing all 3 games. We'd played 25 in our first game, would have played the first half and second game, and played until the 3rd quarter of the 3rd game. I have done that formula, but this formula works for us.
It's this format, yes. And that's the thing, though, that, to me, it's it's really the liking of the coach. I'm not sure if I'm in on it or not, but do not be surprised if that first quarter of the Giant game we don't look as good as we will look throughout, let's say, the first quarter of the year. I think that first drive or two might be ugly, a little bit uglier than we might be expecting. But I also think McCarthy will give us a game plan in that first quarter to kind of support, the fact that he knows we're going to be rusty. Like he'll give us something simpler for the first 2 drives, let's say, is what I'm thinking he might do. That's just going off what I think McCarthy's going to do. I don't know. That's just me guessing. So anyways, let's talk about training camp, maybe, and practices, because today, of course, some guys are missing, some guys are there. Injury update's really the main thing here. Let me just throw up on here the views from today, I guess you can say, the video, the clips from today that we saw at the 13th day of training camp practice. Let me throw it up here real quick. There it is.
Actually, before you get to that, I do want to take a second here. Remind everybody to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You guys can follow us on all social media at MyCowboysFamily. Hop in the Discord down below as well. And of course, thank you so much for everybody here chilling, hanging with us. Thank you to the sponsor of the week, the Cash App King Snug X.
Much love.
The stream boss, Mark Hovsepian, who is more than fully powered up there.
Yeah, first place on the overall board as well. Jason Renfro in the lead in the Cash App, and the king of the gifting membership side of things. Nobody in there, though, right now. It's 0-0-0 across the board. Now, when it comes to today's practice, and I'll open up in a minute, of course, they had an opening ceremony about 45 minutes before the actual practice began. So, there's a lot of hoopla there. Tomorrow is the normal 6 p.m. Central Time practice, like it was today when it actually kicked off was at 6. And the third practice at 1:30 p.m. Central Time. Again, remember, that's going to probably be just, people can go there, but it's going to be just helmets and shorts. It's not going to be a hitting practice on that Thursday. Tomorrow, Wednesday, August 23rd, is the last practice you're going to get with them actually, putting the pads on and hitting. So the unofficial depth chart was once again released, baby. You want to hear something funny about this? The week 1 preseason game, the depth chart was released, and we saw it and whatever. Then week 2, we saw a depth chart. It was exactly the same as the first one, right? And then week 3, same thing. Now, week 3, 3 weeks in a row, the same exact depth chart. I'm not even going to talk about it. It doesn't really matter. I even think that you still have Overshown on the fucking depth chart. So and Stevens. So what does that mean? What does this mean? The whole thing? Nothing. It means that they're out for the year, and that's I guess they are updated here. They have a little underline on them. The point is, it's the same damn depth chart. Nothing's changed. So it just means they'll be evaluated at the end of this Raider game, at this last week 3 game. So when it comes to the offensive line, I will say this because, we heard everybody talking about it. We heard a lot of different views on this. When you look at the offensive line right now for the Cowboys, compared to the NFL, the Cowboys have a top 10 analytical offensive line. And what I mean by that, well, let me get number 1 team is the Philadelphia Eagles. On the top 10 list, Eagles are number 1. That was they were the same winners of that last year. They were number 1 last year as well. So coming in this year, number 1 ranked offensive line, and they lost a starter, but now they did have a 2022 draft pick, Cam Jurgens, and they say he's going to fill right in there, and they'll still be number 1 this year. The Browns and the Chiefs. Browns are number 2. Chiefs are number 3 on the best offensive lines. The Cleveland went up 4 spots. Kansas City went up 1 spot. And let's go down at where the Cowboys are at. Number 6. We're the 6th highest ranked offensive line.
Okay. So, that's honestly not bad. Well, in the sense of, considering all the little bumps and bruises or other situations we have. Even with all our starters, I can kind of understand why.
Well, we went up 6 spots. We were at 12 last year. This year we're at 6. I think they believe in Tyler Smith. That's the big thing there. But a healthy Cowboys offense, they make this specific. Mm-hmm. Healthy Cowboys offensive line comes in at number 6. Injuries have decimated our team, our offensive line for years. But when we're on paper and we are healthy, they're saying 6. I say top 10. Just going to go with that.
Yep.
Tyron Smith, Tyler Biadasz, Zach Martin, and Terrence Steele. That is a top 10 offensive line. The Cowboys, again, according to this PFF rating, multiple players back from injury. And we know that they say that Tyron Smith's never far from getting hurt at this point of his career, which we know is true. We expect this. Last year, the Cowboys started at number 6 last year and dropped to 12 because of injuries. It slipped down there, right? So, but when they say again, they reiterate, when we have all 5 guys, we are a dominant offensive line, a top 10 the top 6 offensive line. Best player they say on this offensive line is Zach Martin. But again, Tyron Smith healthy, still a top 3 or 4, I would say a top 5 tackle in the league. And Tyler Smith, one of the best, I think, definitely a top young guy in the league here on offensive lines. Biadasz, again, Pro Bowl center. I'm going to leave that there. At least a top 3 or 4 in the NFC, right? A top 10 in the NFL, offensive lineman center. Zach Martin, number 1, and Terrence Steele, when healthy. And we saw him with Zach Martin out there on the right side, the best duo blockers in the league. That's what we're going to see. We should be able to decimate off defensive lines on that side. So I'm excited to see our offensive line stay healthy as long as possible so we can see what this we never got to see last year because of Tyron Smith before the first game getting injured and that was just running around without pads. Mm-hmm. So we got to hope we get through this week and then get through the next week of practice and then we're ready to go against the Giants. So offensive line wise, baby, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more in the practice, but rookie guard, undrafted rookie guard, TJ Bass, a guy I actually made a video on here, so check it out if you haven't seen it yet. In both games in preseason, and he's played a lot. He's played 58 preseason snaps. He has not allowed a single pressure on the quarterback. Now, again, he's playing against other undrafted guys and probably 6th-round guys and 3rd-round guys, but he was undrafted too. and he is locking down a lot of the no pressure coming in from him as far as the lesser talented defensive line. So good to see TJ Bass. He got a lot of work today, by the way, in today's practice, which tells me that the Cowboys are liking whatever they're seeing from TJ Bass, number 66. Small sample size still, right? 58 preseason snaps, no pressures. But this undrafted guard from Oregon is playing well. He's playing consistent. Keep an eye on him. That's why I made a video. I said he's a guy that can definitely make a run at that with Asim Richards and others. With these young guys, hopefully one of these guys can put it together and kind of show off over the other guys. So, by the way, and then I go off the offensive line. We're going to go into. I want to just quickly touch on running back for a second. In 2022, Ezekiel Elliott converted 41 of 45 opportunities with 2 yards or less to get either a first down or a touchdown. That's a 91% success rate. Tony Pollard was 19 for 25 last year. I'm sorry, in his career. 19 to 25. I'm sorry, in 2022 for a 76% success rate, which is obviously a lot less than Zeke, right? And when converting the short yardage stuff for first downs and touchdowns. And Dak was 17 for 17, by the way. Not many people talk about that last year. 17 for 17, 100%. Yeah, we're not talking about that. Maybe we use Dak on short yardage more often. That seems to work. Using Dak short yardage. Like the way Hurts is kind of used. Maybe not as much.
Yeah,
but that same kind of way.
We've been beating that drum for a while in the sense that we have to reintroduce the threat of Dak running back into the offense. That does not mean Dak is somehow now, our RB3, right?
But getting those short yardage stuff, those third and fourth downs for a yard or two, maybe more Dak kind of implementation. Not gonna get him hurt. You just get him on those 2 yards the smart way, and it's easy money. Again, 17-17 last year. 17 out of 17 for Dak Prescott. Now we got to drop from the amazing games in the house, dropping that $10 holler in the house. Ooh. Much love, appreciated, Mr. West Coast himself. What do you say?
My MCF, what's good? Cali drop. First of all, thank you so much. Appreciate you, Amazing Games. And since you are bringing this up the West Coast style, hopefully you and yours are safe from the effects of the hurricane. I know things are very, very soggy and wet right now over there. Yeah. So,
yeah, man, stay safe out there right now. It's crazy, even though it's kind of it's simmering down, so to speak. But appreciate you, Clark, mother effing Kent. Who, by the way, right now is, Mark is in first, Clark is in second, and Jason Renfro in third place currently on the overall board. Clark Kent, moving on up. Appreciate you. Now, finishing up here, by the way, Mark's at 90 points. DeMarcus Lawrence. DeMarcus Lawrence points up there. Anyways, I just wanted to say, short yardage, Zeke was the guy in short yardage for us last year. Tony Pollard, not as reliable, but Dak Prescott, extremely reliable when used properly. Just think about it. I'm not saying we should always do that, but think about that. Now, Cowboys also defensively, first team in the NFL to lead the league in takeaways for back-to-back seasons, for consecutive seasons. You know how long it's been? Almost 50 years. Since the 1972-73 Pittsburgh Steelers. That's a while back, guys. That's 49 freaking years ago we're talking about here, guys. The last time back-to-back, defenses, a defense on the same team back-to-back led the NFL in turnovers. In 2022, not turnovers, but takeaways, on defensive takeaways. 2022, we had, last year, 33 turnovers, takeaways for our defense. 2021, 34. So 34, 33. Will we get 36 this year? 38? What do you want to say, guys? 40? Let's lead it again. For 3 straight mother effing years, right? Mother effing, Clark Kent in the house. Appreciate you. So anyways, today's practice, it was interesting. There was no reporters allowed to post videos or photos in the public practices. And that's not just for today's practice, but for tomorrow and Thursday's practice. So that sucks for us on this side. Still got to see some stuff. Still got some video. I'll put it up in a minute. But we saw that offensive line combination. You see it on our thumbnail. I love it, guys. It was used for the first time all preseason, all training camp in a team drill. I'll show you in a minute. But first, we got a double drop in the house, baby. We got Jangly Echoes and Mark Hosepian. Jangly dropping that $2 holler, J. Lou style. And Mark dropping that 5 on it.
Ooh.
What did the ballers, both of these guys, have to say?
So Jangly Echo said, congrats to Jalen Tolbert for winning the number 4 spot.
Yeah, he battled it out, earned it.
And like I said, hard-pressed to think of another player who had as much of a jump as he did in a lot of ways. So, and Mark Hosepian, thank you with that $5 holler, saying we have 2 glaring needs and weaknesses. The defense revolves around one man only in Parsons. He goes down, the D is in deep caca. O-line depth and injury.
Maybe, hit it up.
So, I mean, the problem with Micah, it's the good and the bad. The good thing is Micah is the type of guy that you can absolutely build an entire defense around one singular person. The bad thing is you kind of pointed it out. What happens if this one person is not available for whatever the reason? Even if it's just one play, one drive, one whatever. A few things fall through the cracks or fall short. So, but Micah Parsons is not a doubt to me, if that makes sense. You know, like, he's one of the only things that we are sure about in that sense. So,
I mean, you can't. How can we hide him? You know what I'm saying? And say, well, of course we have a great deep. I think that he makes everybody better, no matter what. If he was on any team, it'd be the same thing. Let me ask Mark a question. If you lose Aaron Donald with the Rams, then what kind of scary guys you got on that defensive line? If you lose Bosa from the Niners, if you lose Bosa from the Chargers, I'm saying if you lose Myles Garrett, I mean, I know they got other good guys, like we have other good guys, but you don't have anybody that really scares you like the guys I just mentioned. Max, what's his name from the Raiders? The top sack guys. If you lose those guys, T.J. Watt, what happens to the rest of the defense? What happens to the other scary pass rushers? That goes away. That happens with Micah Parsons too. I mean, that's just a normal thing, right, Mark? I mean, I just want to make sure I'm right here. I want to make sure I'm analyzing this properly because not many teams in the NFL have the second scary guy on the defensive front, and we have guys that are pretty close, but they're working towards that. Nobody really has that, and that's with the Cowboys. That's every defense, the Eagles as well in the NFL. Not everybody. Nobody really has that bona fide other scary. They got names. We got names. But nobody has that second scary guy like Micah Parsons, T.J. Watt, Bosa. Sorry. Tell me if I'm wrong, Mark. And anybody else out there, let me know if I'm wrong.
You're wrong. Just kidding. So just messing with you a little bit there. And yes, guys, we still have quite a few things to touch on. Like you said, we actually got to hear from some of our players. We still have a few other little things there to throw down. And
finish talking about this practice, which was kind of, it was a blue and white scrimmage today, guys. And that's kind of what today's thing was. Now, let me just show you guys the thumbnail here. You see it in our opening here. The bottom left is what's important to look at here. Dak Prescott taking a snap there with Tony Pollard to his right. But look at the right tackle, number 78, Terrence Steele. Look at the right guard, number 70, Zach Martin. Number 63, center, Tyler Biadasz. Number 73, left guard, Tyler Smith, of course. And then Tyron Smith, number 77, playing the left tackle. So, again, first time seeing this all training camp. There you go, guys. You got yourself a nice view there. Now, staying with the injuries, offensive line situation, Matt Waletzko and his shoulder issue. He was practicing out there today, which is great to see. He was day-to-day. He's got the shoulder subluxation. But he's practicing after that exit in the Seattle game, preseason game against the Seahawks. So he was back out there. That's good news. He wasn't really taking the big hits and stuff like that. He was just, he was doing some of the light work, but still at least back on the field, working back. It looks like he's going to be able to play against the Raiders, and he needs that time so we can make sure we see the most we can see from him at a tackle spot. Now, Sheldon Redwine, I talked about him yesterday, kind of under the radar, hamstring injury. I know he's probably going to be cut and not going to be a guy who makes his team. Maybe practice squad, who knows? But Sheldrick Redwine, number 36, he is out for this practice today. He was not there. Other injury updates, Ronald Jones with the groin. Good news for him. He's going through some individual drills today. He went over some of those, and that's the first time since he's gotten hurt with that groin injury and the PED announcement. Now, he's practiced a couple times after the PEDs. He's missing week 1 and 2. We know this. He needs to get out there to make the Cowboys want to think about keeping him on an exemption list and then maybe putting him into the mix week 3. But right now, with the groin issue, that's slowed him down. He went through individual drills today at practice. Good news for him. Ronald Jones back at it. Now, Ronald Jones did return to practice, like I said. And again, that gives him a chance to make his preseason debut with the star in his helmet on Saturday. Other guys out there, injury-wise, Donovan Wilson with the groin was out there, but again, not practicing. They were watching. Nashawn Wright was out there with an ankle injury. By the way, he was out of his walking boot for Nashawn Wright, number 25. Good news for him, although he still was watching. He's not going to play or practice. He's probably made this team. But Nashawn Wright with the ankle, he was on the sideline watching. Malik Jefferson with the foot injury, also on the sideline watching. We heard from McCarthy yesterday saying it's going to be hard for him to get there to play this week for Malik Jefferson. So he probably is practice squad guy. And like I said, Sheldrick Redwine also with the hamstring was also watching. Nashawn Wright out of the boot. Chuma Edoga, I don't know if he was watching or not, but he was not practicing. He was notably not out there. So keep an eye on him and that knee that he twisted up in the practice. The Marvin Overshown and tight end John Stevens were both sitting on chairs watching the practice today. So good for them, guys. Both rookies, of course, we know, unfortunately tore their ACLs on Saturday's exhibition, against the Seattle Seahawks. But again, they were out there watching from the sideline. This is a group core team to have that connection. So hopefully they stay close to the team and keep watching and seeing the way you're supposed to do this throughout a season. And another way of learning is behind the scenes as well. So as far as on the field, and let me just put this on the screen here for you guys so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And I'll let it probably run once or twice. It's a short clips from today's practice. So let me throw it up on here. Boom. And just so you know, when it comes to the kicker, Brandon Aubrey, he went 7 for 8 today. 7 for 8 in field goals. To start this indoor practice, you see Jerry Jones on the field. He's going to sign a baby, Jerry Jones. So watch closely. He's going to sign a baby. That was brought down to him to be, I guess, to sign his shirt. So here you go. You'll see it now. So as you're seeing Jerry sign a baby, Brandon Aubrey did well today. 7 for 8. I'm pretty sure he hit them all from within 33 from 53 yards as well. He did a couple from 53. That was his longest one. So good for him on that side of things. 7 for 8. The only one he missed was a 48-yarder. He hit the upright, but then he made the next one. He made it through the 48 yards and made it through the 53 yards. So good for Aubrey, doing well there. Now you'll see here coming up as Micah's going to come on that field and be pumping up the crowd. And you'll see here also Deuce Vaughn. Take a look at Deuce here doing this thing on this play here. Everyone's yelling Deuce. Look at him. Just a little bit of hole you need. That's a big hole, and he's gone. But then you see a mojo moment here. Dak Prescott to Brandon Cooks on the outside. Look at this. Bam. In stride, beating the starting team there. Nice play from Dak to Brooks there on the sideline. 2nd and 10 in the sweet spot of coverage for a 60-yard touchdown. A slant here to CeeDee Lamb. Quick. Again, this is a quick, West Coast style offense. Quick moves. Let the players take it to the next level. Then let's look for the tight end, Ferguson, in the end zone. Boom. In, out. Touchdown. Great catch by Ferguson, looking great as a tight end, starter number 1 for us. I love it. So that mojo moment you saw there was a big play from Dak to Brandon Cooks. When we're unveiling the combination of all three things: the play action, the under center, the outs and slants and the slants and the outs, and then the bomb. We're showing this now. Mozzie Smith also, guys. Even though at some plays he was still late getting off the ball, which he has to get better at, he put rookie offensive tackle, undrafted guy Earl Bostic on his ass on 11 on 11 reps. He just came on through there, even with the late get off. So he does have strength. We know this from Mozzie Smith. It's obvious. Other rookies, Austin Richards, out there playing on the offensive. This is important to know. This is what I'm going to kind of end it with. But Austin Richards and TJ Bass are seeing a lot of first team reps without Tyron Smith and Zach Martin. What does this mean? Because, again, both these guys were working. Again, Austin Richards was working the left tackle spot for Tyron Smith. And TJ Bass was working the right guard spot for Zach Martin. This was the thing here. Josh Ball got some time in there at the right tackle spot. And this was after his best practice. He kind of got demoted, Josh Ball. So he had a good game, but he was kind of putting out to regulate to the right tackle spot and working only on that. When they called on the overhead, the ones are up. So ones come on the field. Who came on the field for the Cowboys offensive line? Because Tyron and Zach Martin were out of the team, period. So they were not there. So who were the Biotish, Terrence Steele, Tyler Smith, Zach Martin, Tyron were out, right? Who came in for that left tackle and that right guard spot? Left tackle, Austin Richards. Right guard, TJ Bass. So what I'm trying to say is, who was not out there? Well, they called them up there when it was the twos. When they called the second stringers, Josh Ball at right guard. You guys understand here?
Yeah.
So he was, he played right tackle. That's the backup to Terrence Steele, right? Not really the biggest injury spot we got to worry about right now. We were assuming these other guys, Waletzko and others, can do the right side. So the fact that Josh Ball is not getting really the true not getting the starter snaps in this scenario is telling at this point of camp. So Josh Ball, even though he had a good game, he still kind of got demoted in a way to second string right guard right now is where we're sitting at here. So he's not playing right tackle with the other guys. That's Terrence Steele. So he's just getting regulated to right guard mostly right now. Interesting what's happening with him. Remember, Zach Martin's in a way. He's the third string right guard. So think about that as well. Now, we got the injuries broken down. We got the the practice kind of broken down. Now we got to hear from the players afterwards. What did they say afterwards? After this practice, a lot of fans in the house. You can see that as we close out here.
I'm just here so I don't get fined. No, I'm just kidding.
Haley, 94 Ware in the house.
Appreciate you, Haley. Much love.
Yes.
Representing their Brian Anger style.
Another OG in here, dropping that 5 on it. What did the man say?
He said, Mike McCarthy sat down like 26 players. We know if Law, Parsons, and DA played, then Mozzie would have looked better because the O-lines would have had their hands full.
Exactly. Haley, and honestly, I've said that multiple times here. Yep.
Yeah, it obviously we haven't seen it quite yet, but yeah, Mozzie with our starters versus Mozzie now with just on his own or with backups or whatever. Yeah, just that alone is going to be an instant improvement there. So
yeah, I mean, when you have to worry about, of course, Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Fowler, or Sam Williams, or Dorrance Armstrong, and then Osa, and then Hankins, or whoever else is going to be there while Mozzie's there, on top of LVE, and you go Damone Clark and other guys, Curse in the mix, helping out down there. When you add it all up, it's a whole different story when you have all these other guys that are second and third stringers around Mozzie Smith. So 100% agree there with Haley. 94 Ware. I'm updating him, baby. He's third place on this board as we speak.
Oh, appreciate you, Haley. So, and exactly. So, look, I'm just saying, we've already kind of touched on this a few times. I wanted to roll back and read a handful more comments here. So, Rolando Rodriguez, we did see both rookies. We saw that. And Haley's earlier comment, by the way, in reference to, I'm guessing it was Micah Parsons, he said, agree, MCF. Losing 11 takes away a lot of options, but we have a wizard, the great and powerful DQ.
DQ in the house, and that is the key. DQ.
Yeah, so great Dan Quinini.
What's up, Tyrone Church in the house?
Yeah.
Representing it here. I saw him in here.
Yeah, he said, Mozzie's okay, he's just got to get the timing right.
Agree. He's got to get that start off better, right?
You know how that happens?
Practice.
Oh, yeah.
Practice makes perfect.
Lots and lots and lots and lots of it. So
as Jerry Jones said, Jerry signs a baby. Tell me what was said by a couple of our players today after practice as we wrap this thing up tonight. Get your last comments in, your last thoughts in here on My Cowboys Family. But I do want to hear what is things started off with when it comes to Mr. DeMarvion Overshown. Again,
I was gonna say,
the biggest loss so far in our.
Just rip that Band-Aid off.
The biggest loss of our team right now, I'd say, this year so far. All right.
He said, I'm going to take this time to really dive into football, getting my body right, and take my time on this knee and come back better than ever. I'm still blessed to be here. I'm going to be around just as much as if I was playing on the field. I'm definitely going to bring that same energy that I was bringing to the sideline.
I see that.
Now I've got a different role on the team, and that's bringing the juice.
Hey, I hear him, man. And listen, that's a great mindset.
Only freshly squeezed here.
It's a great mindset for DeMarvion to continue. He's just, listen, remember, he wanted to be a Cowboy since he was in first grade. He wanted to play for the Cowboys. So he's living his dream, even if he has to wait one more year. It hurts, but it's far from the end. So that's great to hear there. I know Jerry Jones spoke to, to the media, he spoke to Overshown, setting up a discussion, a chat with Michael Irvin and him. Right?
Yeah, because of that knee injury. Yep. Jerry said that, that helped the rest of his career, that moment happening now. And I definitely look at that as inspiration. Overshown obviously taking Jerry's advice to heart. It is smart that Jerry obviously is trying to make those connections. So hopefully when Overshown reaches out to Irving,
it's going to be a good thing for him. He can
get something out of that.
It's going to be a great thing for him.
So, Overshown also said that riding to the locker room in the cart was not like as big of a deal. He said, I thought I was going to come back out there and jog and have one of those moments, but I didn't get the news I wanted. But like I said, I'm blessed. I'm still able to rock the star everywhere I go.
He's a fan like us, except he plays there.
Well,
I can't wait. I can't wait till he's back on that field.
I have to imagine it feels worse knowing that, like, you almost had a taste of it. You know what I mean? So
the thing is, he was doing great, and we all want to see more, and we can't wait. We cannot wait, but we got to wait one more freaking year. So Overshown will be back strong next year. He wasn't done, though, because, again, he's still smiling after the injury and, saying he's in the mindset of grinding, so to speak, right?
Yep. So he said, I'm ready to attack this recovery and be back. It's just a bump on the road, and I'm ready to share my testimony once I get back from this.
Grinding. Come on.
I keep in the line. Overshown also added in there, like, basically, like, yeah. So he said, it's another chapter to my story, and I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to take this time to dive into football and rehab this knee so I can come back better than ever.
It's good to see the young man really taking this, very strong. He's doing this very well. I'm very happy that he's able to at least handle this. This is not an easy thing to do. Now, Marquise Bell, he's stepping in to this spot. And I think we got to bring him up now because Overshown being gone, right? Marquise Bell spoke today because Dan Quinn is having him do things into that linebacker flex role, vacated to Overshown. And so we talked about this yesterday. Remember maybe about the snaps, 10, 15 snaps, 17 snaps a game we're missing, let's say. At most, by the end of the year, Overshown might have been playing that many. Might start off with 10, right? 7, 8, 9, 10 starting off. Who can replace those linebacker flex spots? That role. Not the starting spot. It's not about starting. It's about what Overshown would have done for Dan Quinn's defense. What player is going to be able to do that same stuff? And I was throwing out Jabril Cox has to step up, and the safeties that are starting, and Micah might have to drop back, but we heard today, Wanye Thomas a possibility, but Marquise Bell is the one doing the stuff here in practice as the kind of the new Darmarvian Overshown. He's stepping into that linebacker flex role that was vacated due to Darmarvian Overshown's injury. Now I know he said a couple of things. I know that Marquise Bell said, quote, however I can help the team is how I see myself. If they need me at linebacker, at safety, a hybrid, I'm willing to do whatever. I just need to get more in tune with it and learn my gap fits. That's what Marquise Bell said. I know you have the rest of the stuff that he spoke on. So hey, you have the mic, baby. What did again? This is Overshown, but Marquise Bell, number 41, is a man stepping into this role. It seems like, at least in practice. What did Marquise Bell say?
He said, "I've been getting reps in our dime package anyway, so it's pretty normal. Just some packages that we don't have in dime. I've still got to get used to them, get used to the run fits." And that basically, Dan Quinn called him yesterday and said, hey, you have more responsibility. Thanks, bye.
Yeah, but no, more responsibilities at linebacker.
That's I thought that was...
No, it's not obvious. His responsibility is not growing just at safety. He's now growing some responsibilities at the linebacker position. So what did he say about that?
Yeah, he said, just trying to show my versatility. I don't really know what they want me to do with it. So, it sounds like that's obviously a developing process. He said, I feel like it's back to how it was.
No.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So he said, I don't really know what they want me to do with it.
Did you have anything else on Marquise Bell? Okay. I thought there was more stuff out there for him. But that's all that Marquise said. But again, it says a lot in my mind when it comes to his upcoming role, especially when it's coming from Dan Quinn.
And again, at least to me, the number one biggest marker there is the fact that the second that this basically happened, Quinn picked up the phone and said, "Hey,
Mr. Bell, you're up next.
You are getting more responsibilities
at that at that linebacker spot.
At that linebacker spot.
Now Overshown out, and it looks like Marquise Bell, number 41, is going to be in. That's what we're looking at here, at least initially, right? We got to wait and see how this thing develops. That's why we got a couple of weeks still. For 18 days for the first game, so still got a couple of weeks to kind of make sure who's going to take over those 7, 8, 10 snaps that you might have seen with Overshown in this upcoming Giants game. So that was it from I guess we heard from Brandon Cooks. We heard from Overshown. We heard from Marquise Bell. We also heard from two other guys here. And one of those guys was Luke Schoonmaker, baby. Everyone's favorite second-round pick, a tight end. He says, he said, quote, I feel like it's back to how it was before the injury. That's what you were saying.
Yeah.
The Schoonmaker is basically saying he feels 100%. And basically he feels good about this after this bout of plantar fasciitis. And he's now just working on strengthening it. So good news there on Schoonmaker. Another guy who spoke, and both these guys we might have to talk more about tomorrow if we get more information from them. But Tyler Biadasz, Pro Bowl center for the Cowboys, he does become a free agent after this year. He said, quote, I just let my play do the talking, and I think obviously my agent is all over that. I live every day in the moment, and I'm grateful to wake up every day and live in the present. And I let that kind of stuff just kind of manifest itself. So, again, that's the word there from Schoonmaker on offense, tight end, and center, Tyler Biadasz, the badass. So,
sorry, Haley's comment made me laugh. He's like, if I would have mentioned all the players MCF listed in my $5 holler, it would have cost me another $20. So
I didn't realize. I'm sorry, but yes, I do list a lot of guys.
They do have a character limit there. So.
I know.
But yeah, so
I'm not trying to correct them. I'm just adding to it.
I
love it. I love the discussion.
Trust me. But Asmodeus, much love, and yeah, again, I still feel like it's going to take me a few more days/weeks to get over the Overshown injury.
Still stings.
It still feels too new, too recent, and
too
it does feel that extra insult added to injury that we lost him and John Stevens, just because, damn it, both guys were just doing.
And he's to a lesser role, Stevens, but still, we have 5 tight ends, so it's
not even about his role either necessarily. Like I said, it's about the energy.
True,
right?
Overshown brings something, adds to that defense.
Yeah, to have not just that, but to have one of the few players that was kind of rolling in the momentum at the moment.
Yeah, popping off the screen of all the rookies, for sure.
If that momentum had naturally faded by itself, obviously that's a different thing. But like I said, something about having the opportunity cut short because of injury, something so out of your hands, it's like, damn. It feels like you want to complete something.
Well, listen, we gotta take over those snaps from somebody, right? Mm-hmm. And
Asmodeus also adding in there, Bell's the truth, a little light in the ass, but very productive.
He does. I will say he does come with those hits. We talked about him last year in college doing that. And, saw him kind of get some action in there, really on run support stuff, on short yardage stuff. You saw him coming in, kind of replacing the, who was the guy who used to do that? Darren Thompson, right? What was his name? Darian Thomas? I don't know. I forgot his name, but he used to play for us at safety there, come in there, and come in on run stopping downs. That's what I kind of thought of Mukuamu. That's what I kind of thought of Marquise Bell, at least last year. But I think now, Marquise Bell, when he hits you, he has that acceleration the way you saw, Overshown. He has that burst, that oomph that he hits you with. And he does have that nasty hitting style. So it's similar to Overshown, but we can see that obviously Overshown is the kind of guy Dan Quinn wants for that spot. That's the guy he needs for that spot. But Bell's going to be the backup to that role. It's not even a position. It's just the Dan Quinn specialty role of Overshown's, kind of explosiveness for this year. It's going to be taken by Marquise Bell, at least right now. I'm going to reiterate that right now. I'm waiting to see it because I know he was looking good last year. Now he's stepping up to the plate, and I'm glad he spoke about it, Marquise Bell, but also Dan Quinn kind of making it known that, hey, I'm going to be putting you in this role now. So good for that young man to take over this, Marquise Bell. So let's call it a night, baby, and do the quick shout-outs. Almost here 2 hours, rolling hard for our Cowboys. Another day tomorrow of practice, pads on. Again, 6 o'clock Central Time, so be there. You can see it live, first come, first serve kind of deal. We'll come back out and provide you whatever video we can get. They're not really allowing it, but we'll get you whatever video we can find out in these Twitter streets, I guess. And at the same time, we will discuss it all once again here. Again, good news, knocking on wood, even though I saw J-Ron Curse kind of limping for a second in today's practice, he was back there the next 2 plays doing his thing, so feeling good about that. And again, no injuries, knock on wood. We'll hear any kind of bumps and bruises from McCarthy tomorrow from our team, and then we're ready to get through the last padded practice of training camp here now in Dallas. And then, of course, the walkthrough on Thursday to finalize the final practices before the final game on Saturday night against the Raiders. Anyways, hit up the chat, baby.
First of all, huge shout out to the people representing here, the sponsor of the week.
Yes.
And the Cash App King.
Going
back to back. Snug X.
You know it.
I appreciate you, of course. And Marco Seppian, fully powered up there on that stream. Boss.
Yeah. He's 83. Well, actually, he's not fully powered. He's 83 points on there, yeah.
That's right. I forgot about the
The drops in between, yes. You can't forget about the family there.
Sorry, on my side, the video's been paused for
so you see the old numbers.
There, so it still shows the old number there.
Yeah, I gotta catch up on the 83 for Mark right there on the board. And he's first place on the overall, as you see right above Snug X there. He's running those boards. Nobody's on the gifting side of things. Right now it's empty. It's like, what? Empty. Echo. But we do have a leader in the Cash App, and right now it's just a little dollar holler, but it's still Jason Renfro representing it. Oh, jeez, he must have heard me. Jason Renfro dropping another dollar holler in the house.
Thank you, Jason. Go Cowboys.
Always go Cowboys, and we're talking to our gifting champion here 3 weeks in a row. Much love to Jason Renfro. Yes, much love, and he's right now up on that board here, breaking that tie. I think they had already on him, but he's still first place leader right now in the Cash App, and I think he is now by himself in fourth place, I think, on the board. Yes, he's by himself in fourth now, official.
So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and do the shout outs here of the night. So yes, Jason Renfro, much love. Asmodeus representing. Haley94 Ware, thanks for coming through. Of course, we have Amazing Games, much love. See who else is here. Tyrone Church, of course. Yes. Much love to you as well.
Jason jumps into third. I'm sorry, because he does break the tiebreaker there with Haley. So
excellent. There you go. So Mr. Cowboy in the house. NDM Boogie representing. Jangly Echoes, much love. No, just trying to go back. Mark Hovsepian, of course. Snug X, you know why he's here.
You know it.
Just trying to go back. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. Rolando Rodriguez, Griff181, Mike Z in the place to be. Monroe Gadet, thank you for coming through. Thomas Garrett, the Superior Garrett.
Scorpio, Freedom First.
Yeah, at least on my part,
many others,
as far back as I can go.
Many others in the house. And of course, let me also shout out those that dropped the love from above tonight, like Jason Renfro, Jangly Echoes, Haley94 Ware, Amazing Games, and the man from Hawaii, currently leading everything here on this week's boards, Mark Hovsepian. Much love to the family here, and can't do this thing without you all. And baby, I want to ask you a quick question. Do you know why we do this each and every night right here on this channel, right here in My Cowboys Family?
Is it possibly because of that navy blue? That silver too? That star over everything?
Woo! Yes, it is. It's about win, lose, or draw, good, bad, or ugly. It's about repping that star over everything. If you're a true fan, that's what you do, man. And here in MCF, My Cowboys Family, into our seventh season, 6 years plus on YouTube. Never forget here in My Cowboys Family, the number one thing here, now, and forever, as always. And say with us loud and proud. Go Cowboys! Let's get that 6. You see my shirt? I want 6. Let's get that 6. And beyond. And beyond. Thank you all for dropping the knowledge and beyond in the chat all night long. Can't do this without you guys. Thoughts on our team. Appreciate it. And also cannot do this without your drops of love from above. Here almost 2 hours or into 2 hours here. Live streaming with you all. Talking everything about our Cowboys and news, info, and updates. You know how we do. Thank you guys. We want 6 and beyond. And here, as we close it out for the 9, drop out, clock out for the evening, we got a first shout out. Mr. Jason Renfro for another one. And a big old Go Cowboys. Much love, Jason Renfro. Appreciate you. Go Cowboys.
Always go Cowboys.
Yeah. So yes, as we clock out and drop out for the night, baby, relock and reload for another day of the final true padded practice of training camp and another day here on My Cowboys Family with news, info, and updates. Why don't you let everybody know what we got to do before we can officially drop out of here for the night?
We got to drop the beat.
Oh, yeah. That beat is now officially, guess what, baby? Officially dropped. Hell yeah. Guys, thank you once again for rocking with us here on the Nightly. Jason Renfro with another one. He dropped another one, guys, and puts Mr. Mark Hovsepian to 80 points on that stream, boss. Much love, Jason. Much love, everybody who dropped in, dropped love, dropped knowledge. Can't do this without you guys, and we need to get that 6 and beyond. Going into our 27th year of this drought. Come on, family. Let's bring it on. And hey, remind those Eagle fans, if they ever get mad and they get, they want to get snippy, just throw this up. Boom. 5 is always greater than 1, son. You know the deal. And then you can tell them, cry, Eagles, cry. Fuck you, Philly. Yeah, I said it. And I also said this. Thank you for joining for another one here. Another Cowboys chat wrapped in the books. Training camp, officially day 13 with pads. But all right, some people say it's 14 or 15. I don't know. Who cares? It's our day 13 for our Cowboys in training camp. That's what matters. We talked about Marquise Bell, 41, taking over those, the Marvin Overshown snaps. Talk a little bit about Deuce getting loose out there playing this weekend with Tolbert. McCarthy spoke. The Joneses spoke. And, of course, the happiest part of things, that offensive line spoke by being all 5 on that field. That's what we need. Week 1 against the Giants. And hopefully, whole freaking year long? Question mark? Yeah. It's going to be tough to keep it healthy the whole year, but we at least start off that way. Here in MCF, we always start off with that navy blue, that silver too, that star over everything. Never, ever forget. The number one thing right here, my Cowboys family. Much love to everyone. We'll see everybody back tomorrow for another one. Stay safe. Much love. Have a good night. Peace. And never, ever, ever forget, Go Cowboys!
Monk on the beat. Monk on the beat.
And a big thank you to Amazing Games, West Coast style drop with the 5 on it. Have a good night. You say, Go Cowboys! We'll see you all tomorrow here at My Cowboys Family. Peace. Go Cowboys.